Hello, in this video we will be looking at the Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2 verse 17. Avinashitu tadviddhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartumarhati. I'll read it again with the text up. Here we are. I'll enlarge it a bit. Avinashitu tadviddhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. Firstly, an apology for a typo which was my fault, which went into the version of this that I have circulated, and also into the one that was posted onto my Google Drive. This word avyayasya, avyayasya. In fact, it's avyayasya asya, of this imperishable. And here's it separated out, avyayasya asya. In the previous version, because of the series of ya, I'd accidentally missed out the middle one. And so I typed, or erroneously typed, avyasya. It's corrected now. I will shortly be posting, I'm doing this on the 21st of April 26. I'll shortly be posting a corrected version onto the Google Drive. Anyway, read well, avyayasya. So, vidhi, this is from our root. Vid meaning to know. This is the imperative form, second singular imperative, parasmaipada. There are basically, as we know, the classes of verbs. There are 10 classes of verbs in Sanskrit, of which the great majority belong to those classes where the stem ends in an a. These are classes 1, 4, 6, and 10. And in those classes, let's just take the common class 1 verb bhavati. It is, as an example. The second singular imperative is bhava. So bhavati, bhava. And you find that throughout what we can broadly call the first conjugation, as I say, classes 1, 4, 6, and 10. The second conjugation, which is all of the other classes, the second person singular imperative, do thou, ends in di or he. If the root ends in a vowel, then it's he, and if it ends in a consonant, it's the. So the root vid, very, very common, meaning to know. Cognate with Latin videre, and to see, knowing and seeing are often equated. From English word vision. Or cognate with our English word vision via Latin, of course. So the imperative is vidhi, vidhi. And that accounts for this vid plus dhi here. So this is actually a regular formation here. Because vid is actually a class 2 verb. It's not vedami or something like that. It's vedmi, vetsi, veti. And this, as I say, this imperative is a regular formation. So, tad vidhi, know to be, know something to be, know it to be, tadvidhi, know it to be what? Avinashi, indestructible. Now I've done a note in the explanatory glossary. Here we are. It's from our root nash. So let me get it. Here we are. From our root nash, which is on its own, it's a class 1 verb, or more commonly class 4 nashati, or class 4 nashyati. That accounts for the Pali form nasati, means it is destroyed. Remember, it's an intransitive verb, to be destroyed. It makes the verbal noun nasha, nasa in Pali, and therefore imperishable, indestructible is anashin. In fact, we have the anashin form, I think it's in verse 21 coming up. Anyway, one of the verses that we'll be doing soon after this. It is commonly found with no real distinction of meaning that I can detect in the form vinasha, where again it behaves as a class 4 verb. So vinashyati, Pali vinasati, just means to disappear, vanish, destroyed. It can also be in that form used as a transitive verb to destroy something. The vi here, it probably does add a little bit to the meaning. It's the vi, our separative prefix, meaning apart, going away, splitting. It probably intensifies the meaning of not being destroyed, but being blown to bits, falling apart, where we, in English, there's this apart here, something falling apart, not just falling, but falling apart. So the apart does add something there. It adds to the intensity of the ceasing to stand up, ceasing to be, ceasing to withstand life, falling apart. So vinasha, destruction. So avinashin is indestructible, that which is not subject to vinasha. Avinashin, indestructible. The neuter form of nouns and adjectives in is just the short e. Remember, the masculine nominative singular of the very common and numerous group of nouns and adjectives in ends in an e. And you all know the easy example we have. Let me call up the iPad. Is from our root. Oh, sorry. There's a problem with my pen. What was I going to do? Yes. So, for example, we have our yoga, and one who does yoga is stem form is a yogin. That's the stem form, for which we get then the accusative yoginam, genitive yoginaha, instrumental yogina, so on. The singular, nominative singular, masculine, drop the n and lengthens it to so yogi. that reflects our English form, doing yoga, and a yogi reflects the Sanskrit. The neuter, all it does is drop the N. So something that is perishable, so vinashin, perishable, and avinashin, imperishable. The neuter form, you just drop the N and that's it. So that accounts for the avinashi form. So if you're talking about uh, a masculine, a male person or a masculine noun, something being imperishable, you talk about avinashi. You might talk about the imperishable dharma, for example. Then the dharmo vinashi should be dharma avinashi by santi dharmo vinashi. So know that, but here it's neuter. The text again. Ooh, there we are. Neuter because it's tat, meaning that. In fact, I'm going to change this to tat here because it is that would be the base form. Avinashi tu tat vidhi. So literally, know that to be imperishable. The enclitic tu, which can have various meanings, often concessive, on the other hand, but here probably means that alone is just a concessive or emphatic particle. For know that to be, or know that alone to be, avinashi, imperishable, yena, by which, sarvam idam tatam, all of this is stretched. Now, in the translation here, I've given pervaded. Pervaded is actually, no, I'm actually, on second thoughts, I'm not satisfied with the way I've quite put it there. You will see it in some translations. It's not quite pervaded. It's some lovely imagery here. So tatam literally means stretched. It's from our root tan, to stretch. And it's from that, the same root comes into Latin as ten. Tendere is to stretch. And from our word, from which we get tension, for example. And the word tent is fabric that is stretched to make a protective shelter that you can sleep under. You get tenter hooks, which are stretching hooks, which are hooks where you can stretch a line between. So you could say that a washing line is stretched between tenter hooks, which is literally stretching hooks. Now, yes, here we are. The suffix tra very commonly found as a tool or an implement for doing something. So if we have the tantra, many of us will be familiar with tantric practices, Tibetan tantra, forms of spiritual practice. So the tantra, from our root tan, to stretch, the tantra, its original basic meaning was a stretching tool or a stretching implement, and therefore a loom, as in a weaving loom. So your loom is your square frame or rectangular frame, which the threads, the base threads for your carpet or whatever you're weaving, are stretched and kept tight and kept in place on these hooks, top and bottom. And then you can weave your pattern into those stretched threads. You cannot weave the pattern, your visible pattern, say, of the carpet or of an embroidery, unless you have those there's threads, stretched threads there to be able to receive and make manifest the pattern, to hold it in place. So that's why we get this tantra, stretching machine, stretching tool, a loom. And the imagery that we see in this verse, let's go back to it. Where are we? So I lost it. Here we are. The imagery here is that the manifest universe, including ourselves, manifest universe as we see it, is visible only because there is the imperishable, the Paramatma, the divine imperishable behind it all, into which all these patterns and the apparent, or actual or apparent physicality and life as we know it, the universe as we know it, are woven as on a loom. Without that loom, nothing could exist. That's the imagery here. So avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam. By the way, this the root tan in the past participle normally would expect to see tanta, but this is one of those roots where the nasal, the n drops for the past participle. We see the same phenomenon in gum, to go. We would have expected to see the past participle ganta, but it's gata. Same, for example, with hun, to kill. We would have expected to see hanta, but we find hatta, killed. So know that to be imperishable, by which yena sarvam idam tatam, all of this is stretched. Vinasham avyayasyasya nakaschit kartum arhati. Bit of a mouthful here. We've got avyayasya asya by Santi avyayasyasya. So asya, now I'll come to that in a second. So nakaschit, kaschit is in a positive sentence, it would mean somebody or anybody. In a negative sentence, as here, it means nobody. So na kashchit means not anybody, therefore nobody. So na kashchit, nobody, arhati kartum. Kartum from the root kri, meaning to do, infinitive kartum. Arhati, the original meaning of that root is to be worthy, but by extension it means able. So nobody is worthy to do it would be the original, the old Vedic meaning, but it has come to mean able. Also in its second person singular form, arhasi, it's often used as a polite imperative, please do it, kartum arhasi, and more frequently even in the negative form of a negative, a prohibition, please don't do it, but expressed in a very polite way is kartum na arhasi, which then becomes kartum narhasi. You are not worthy to do it, you are not able to do it, but a polite way of saying, please don't do it. It's the same arhati, by the way, the ar root, from which we see in Pali, there's no extra inserted a, so it's not arhati, but it's arahati, which gives us the arahant, which is the present participial form in Pali, the arahant, which we have araha, samma, sambuddho, accusative arahantam, and so on. So it's the same as that Sanskrit word, but just with Pali, there's this inserted a in Sanskrit, by the way, it's arhant. In modern Pali would have an arahant. So nakaschit kartum arhati, nobody is able to do or make or here to effect or to achieve what? The vinasham, the destruction. Nobody is able to cause the destruction, the perishing. Asya avyayasya. Asya, it's the imperative form of the demonstrative pronoun to this. It's in Macdonnell. If you go to page 76 on Macdonnell, paragraph 111, you see it deals with the pronoun ayam, idam, iam. Ayam masculine, idam neuter, iam feminine. Look there in the genitive singular for the masculine and the neuter, you'll see asya. So asya means of this. Avyayasya, it's avyaya. It's our well-known word vyaya, which is broadly the same meaning as vinasha, but vinasha is more of a destruction, a perishing, emphasis on the perishing. Vyaya, the emphasis is more just on the kind of the ceasing to be. It's more of the going apart, the falling apart. It's from the root I, to go. One of the verbal nouns from I is aya, so vi-aya, going apart, and therefore that means either going away or just perishing. The last words of the Buddha, Vayadhamma Sankhara Appamadena Sampadeta. Vayadhamma in Sanskrit would be Vayadharmaha, Vyaya, having the nature to perish, to fall apart, often meaning to cease to be. Vyaya also means just that which goes away, which goes out. And in fact, in the word also means one's outgoings, in the sense of expenses. And in modern Hindi, also the pronunciation vyay, it's got the meaning of outgoings or expenses. So here we're talking about this that by which all of this is pervaded, let's say, that upon all of which of this is stretched as on a loom, is avyaya. It won't fall apart. It is imperishable. So nakaschit, nobody, nobody arhati can kartum cause or make the vinasham, the destruction, asya, of this avyayasya, of this imperishable thing. Incidentally, this root nash, meaning to destroy or be destroyed, to die, it turns up in a slightly different meaning, but the same word and the same underlying meaning in Latin. It turns up as the root noc, N-O-C in Latin, but in Latin it has the meaning of not so much destroying, but harming. So if you're innocens in Latin, as we say innocent in English, innocens, innocente in Italian, it just means that you have not caused harm. That's the underlying meaning of the word. And you have noxious, like a noxious substance, a harmful substance. It turns up in Greek, incidentally, with a different vowel, is the Greek nek, the idea of death and dying. Nekros in Greek means dead. And the word nectar, which we get from Greek, nectar, is nek in the meaning of death and tar in the meaning of crossing, as in avatar, tarati in Sanskrit and Pali, to cross. So nectar is we talk of the nectar of immortality. Nectar, death crossing, that which enables you to cross beyond death, is the underlying meaning of nectar. So nashatara, I don't think the word exists in Sanskrit, but we could invent the word, the nashatara, that which crosses destruction, that which takes you beyond the point where you can be destroyed. So I'll read it through once more, and then we'll wind up this video. Avinashi tu tadviddi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamavyyasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. And once more, avinashi tu tadviddi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. And that's all on this video.